Now, have you ever felt behind in life and like all your friends are doing all these amazing things with their careers and their families and you're not quite there yet? Well, we feel your pain. We know exactly how you're feeling. And today we're going to talk about feeling behind in life. We're going to share our own personal stories. We're going to talk about what makes us feel like this and solutions for when you're feeling like this, how to turn it around. So we're going to start with you, Ricky. Have you ever felt behind in life and what was that like?
Thanks for throwing me on the spot.
Here's the bus. Throw you underneath it. Here you go. Can't wait to hear your story.
I suppose a good point in my life where I felt like I was behind was when we were overseas and we were traveling. It was something we'd hyped ourselves up for and we're doing it. We're like, we really want to travel the world, experience all the different cultures. Money was good, life was good, and then you'd see all your friends back home buying houses, market's good. They're saving up, they're buying houses, starting families. We're overseas partying, living our lives, and then COVID hit. And that's when it starts to sink. It was like, have I wasted all this time traveling, saved all this money? By the time we got back home, housing prices have boomed. We decided, all right, it's time to start buying a house. You know as well as I do. You were there, putting offer after offer and getting rejection after rejection, thinking,
Like, over 6 months we tried to get into a house.
Thinking that, did we waste all that time over in London traveling? Did we waste all that money where we could have come home and settled down and done the expected thing of us?
Yeah, settling down, buying a house.
Yep.
That's what you need to do, apparently, as a human being, as an adult.
Yeah, so I suppose that was the key point in my life when I think COVID hit. And then we was sort of thinking like, okay, so traveling's off the table. This was the whole point. We were here. This is the whole point. We're overseas spending money.
Yeah.
And now we can't travel. So what are we going to do? Oh, shit, the housing prices tripled. You're paying 3 times, 4 times the RV.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, we're in it. We're in a house.
Yes.
I mean, everything works out the way it's supposed to. But at that point in my life, that was the kicker for me. Watching all my friends back home thinking, shit, if I made the wrong decision.
Yeah, absolutely. And it causes you to rethink the decisions that you've made. I think for me personally, looking back at traveling, I remember putting a post on Facebook and being like, I'm so happy we're spending all our money on travel, like screw buying a house. I literally posted that on Facebook and it got a lot of bite. Like a lot of people said, you should be thinking about buying a house and settling down because we're in our late 20s at that point, and that was the socially expected thing to do that you're meant to do at that point in your life. But we were overseas in London, left traveling quite late from what other people's perception of when you're meant to go is. But when we went at that age, the best thing about it was that we got good jobs. So we weren't working in a pub, which meant we could actually, well, you got an amazing job, which funded the majority of our travel.
And you worked at a pub.
I did for the first few weeks. Hated it. Then got a decent job. But it's like by waiting until we're a bit older, it meant we could walk into careers that actually could sustain the amount of travel that we wanted to do. We saw like 25 countries in the space of 2 years, which is unreal. Most people go to London, they'll see a few countries because that's all they could afford, and then they ended up coming home. So I'm very thankful that we went a bit later. But
I'm gonna do a quick correction. 47 countries in the space of 2 years, not 25.
47 total, but we've been to a few before then, right? We did a little bit of travel.
Oh, we did too. Yep, I stand corrected.
So
never argue with your wife.
Always right. But I think for me, waiting to travel later was a good thing because of the income we could earn, which meant we could travel a bit more. But then on the flip side, 100% people here were not traveling. They were purchasing houses, they were having babies, they were doing all the adult things that we weren't doing. We were kind of running away from that at that point, wanting to see the world and experience. And I guess cost versus benefit, like for example, a lot of people I know who have never traveled have started families, and now that's something we would like to do, but we went traveling and we chose that lifestyle instead. So it's all about timing, really. And for me personally, now looking at when I feel behind, it's seeing people, well, my friends who have multiple babies now when they're in their early 30s, whereas we haven't had a single baby yet. So I guess from that stage, it looks like, from the outside in, it looks like we're very behind in life. Yes, we've got a house, we've travelled, but we haven't started a family yet. We do have a beautiful dog named Zeus, and he's absolutely gorgeous. But I guess from someone looking at us, they're probably feeling like we are a little bit behind in terms of what is expected to happen at this point in life. And I just want to say that I do feel behind in that respect, having a family. But also, there are so many people that I know who haven't travelled, don't have a house, don't have a career they love, and don't have a family, who are feeling very behind. So it's like, what would you say to them for people who feel like that at that point in their lives? What would you say?
Yeah, I agree. It's for me, it comes down to narrow vision. And it's a really weird word, narrow vision, right? But
sounds very negative.
It does, but you get fixated on one thing. So for us, it's fixated on, family. Oh my God, we're behind. We haven't started our family yet. Whereas you forget the bigger picture, right? There's so much to life. You've got such a big life to enjoy. There's so many key attributes or so many key points in your life that make up all your memories and all your love and enjoyment. So for me, I've finally got out of the mindset of, all my friends have been kids, or I haven't got a family. It's I got to travel. I got to see this. I got to do this with my career. I got to try this. I got to fail at this, right? I started Algasana with 6 mates. It did really well for 2 years and then it failed, but it's something I got to do in the interim. Whereas to me, that's an achievement.
Yeah.
We got to travel 47 countries in total, still counting, we're still going to get to the 50, but 47.
100 is where it's at.
But 47 in total, even just the experience, culture, watching how other people live, meeting people, enjoying and meeting people with the same vibe and the same mindset as us. You open your mind and you start thinking of a bigger picture of, all right, got to get out of this negative hole of this is all I need. Society expects house, marriage, kids. House, marriage, kids. It's repeatedly installed in you, house, marriage, kids.
Yeah.
All right. So you're fixated on this, got a house, married, well, I haven't got kids, but you forget about the big thing.
Oh.
And I suppose you're right. Like we did probably travel a little bit later than the norm or what's expected when you do your typical OE. But I don't think that's a good thing. But because I didn't, for the life of me, know who the hell I was. I was 18 to 21.
Yeah, precisely.
I was still trying to figure out who the hell I was. Like I was an absolute dickhead. But I met you. We did our first trip together. And I always say, if you can travel with someone, you can live with someone. Because there's so many things that can go wrong when you travel with someone.
It's very stressful.
It is very stressful unless you find someone like I did that just does the whole thing for you. It's great.
Yeah. Travel planner. Yeah.
But yeah, I think you need to get out of that narrow vision side. And I've started doing that now. When I got into a bit of a hole where you start seeing people have kids and families, they're like, why? There's only so many iPhones you can buy from throwing them at the wall.
Just disclaimer, he bought one iPhone, but he did not smash his previous one. But yeah, totally. That whole compare and despair thing. If there's something you want and other people have it, you get jealous, you get envious, because if it's a goal that you have and you've been working really hard to achieve it and you haven't achieved it yet, and you see other people achieving it left, right, and centre, it makes you feel like shit. And that's just part of being a human. But you're totally right. When you get that tunnel vision on that one thing that you really want and your expectations are really high and you're like, no, this is all I want, then if you don't get it, it just leads to disappointment. And so if your number one focus is that one thing, then it's like you need to expand that focus. You got to get the peripheral vision in there of your life in general. It's like, okay, this part isn't doing what I want it to do. It's not going well in, where I want it to go, but what else is going well? What else in my life have I got to be grateful for? Because then when you open up your perspective, you notice so many things that are going amazing that since they're out of your focus, you're just not aware of them. You're not recognizing them as much. And when you get tunnel vision on that one thing you want that's not going well, then that's when you feel like shit, because all your energy is going into it, and all your energy of lack, and like you're missing out on something, and that you're feeling jealous about other people getting that thing that you want. And that just makes you feel like shit, which isn't a nice thing to feel.
No.
So strategies, what can we do when we feel like this, when we feel like we're behind or that we're lacking in an area? What can help us to pull ourselves out of that? What have you tried that's worked for you?
Me comes down to that good old Facebook memories, social media pulling through. It gives you that 1 year, 10 year, 12 months, 1 month memory, or that reminder of things you achieved or you posted. So just that memory of, spending Christmas Day or Christmas night in the Sahara Desert, little plug, fuck you, we're cool. But you know what I mean? Just spending something cool and exciting. We're like, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. There's only so many people that have done that. We got to do that. Let's just try to remember and think back to everything you've achieved. Like, you may not have achieved one thing, but good things take time. And that is true. And I truly believe, for me personally, that everything will happen when it's supposed to happen. And I've finally, because it took me a while, got out of the mentality of, if you can't control it, don't worry about it. Because there's so many things that people, me and myself included previously, we used to worry about that you just couldn't control. And you try to control them, and you're like, why isn't this happening? Why can't I do this? Why? But it's just physically out of your control. There's so many other things that come into factor. Yeah. So just finally letting go and widening your, was use peripheral vision. So widening your peripheral vision, God, that's a ton.
It is.
Widening your eyeballs just helps everything, helps you put everything in perspective. So for me, that was just being, all right, I haven't got A, but I've achieved B, C, D, and E. Just thinking about the bigger picture.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think reframing is a tool that I personally use when things don't go the way that I would like. Reframing is when it's basically looking at the silver lining of something. Because no matter what happens in your life, no matter what you fuck up, what goes wrong, you can always find a silver lining, which is at least why it didn't happen, or I learnt this from that, or that taught me this important lesson that I've utilized in future. So for me, definitely pulling out the silver linings. Sometimes it can be really hard. But for example, when Yuki died, our puppy, after 4 weeks, reframing helped me personally so much by, instead of saying something like, oh, we paid $3,500 for her, we only had her for 4 weeks, was, oh my goodness, she brought so much love into our lives in those 4 weeks that was totally worth the investment. And she had the most loving family for that time, her very short life. So looking at turning those negatives into a positive, and it's not so much like toxic positivity, it's more being grateful for the time that you have and the learnings and experiences that you get from the shit times, because they definitely help to grow you and make you more resilient as a human being. And if instead of looking at things negatively, you can look at, what did I learn from that? What could I do differently next time? Sometimes it's out of your control completely, which is what you said. Like, sometimes circumstances just happen. We have absolutely no control over it, in which case it's like, let it go. I love that phrase, let it go. It's very hard to do, but yeah, if you have no control, then what else can you do but let it go?
I'm so glad you had control and you were going to bust out on a Frozen song. You said it a couple of times, like, just control yourself.
No, I'm not going to sing. Ricky might sing a little bit later, but not me. But yeah, other than that, do you have any other final words that you'd like to end around this?
No, I think just from a personal experience, you hit the nail on the head. Just let go of things you can't control. And for me, it's just remembering the things that you have achieved. And life is so massive. There's so much to it. There's so many different components. I've touched on travel, family, and buying a house. That's 3 aspects. Life is bigger than 3 aspects in your life.
Yeah, so much more than those 3 things.
I know, but we get fixated on 3 individual things that we feel we have to manage, we have to maintain, or we have to achieve.
Yeah.
So just broadening your mindset and just thinking, you know what? I've lived a great life, and although my friends are doing all of this. I'll eventually get there, but I've achieved so much already. And just reminding yourself of what you've achieved and the life you've lived, you'll be fine.
Yeah, and trusting in the process too. Sometimes shit just takes way longer than you expect. Like building a business takes a fucking long time. And, you know, building relationships, starting a family, going traveling, saving money, like all those things, you may expect them to happen a lot sooner than they do. But who cares if they don't happen right on time? You know, life's got so much more to it than waiting for these things to come to you or to happen. And it's just a matter of not if, but when. And if it's something you really want, then you'll take action to ensure that it happens, whether or not that happens tomorrow, a month from now, a year from now, maybe longer. But it's just like, sometimes it's just teaching us the power of patience and perseverance.
Yeah. Everything takes time. And a saying that someone told me once, I think it was the old fellow, actually, to be fair. Don't you tell me as a wise old man. Wise old man. Nothing that ever came easy was worth having. And I live by that. I think, you know, anything you've earned or you've put the effort in to achieve is worth having.
Yeah, definitely. Totally agree. Well, thank you. Thanks for the convo.
You're welcome. You go cook some dinner now?
Yeah, I'm going to go. But for you guys, thank you so much for listening, for watching. We really appreciate you sitting in on us just having a conversation. This is terrible life advice. So if you've got anything that you'd like advice on, any questions, we would love to explore it with you. Just leave us a comment, send us an email, and we'll be more than happy to talk about it in future.
Signing off.
See ya.